Hi guys, welcome to another episode of DFN, and we're still continuing with our interesting marriage versus project management series. And so we're currently in the initiating stage, and in the last episode we looked at developing a project charter, which is the first process to undertake. And then today we are looking at the second and last process to undertake in the initiation stage, which is identifying our stakeholders. So who are our stakeholders? Our stakeholders are basically people who impact or are impacted by the project. And so in the same vein, in the marriage context, the stakeholders are anyone who is impacted or impacts the marriage. And so you would want to identify who they are, what they bring on board, their interests, their power, their influence on the marriage. And so, first of all, we would want to identify the partners in the marriage, the man and the woman who are involved in the marriage, because they are also impacted by the marriage and they impact the marriage, so they are also stakeholders. And so you would want to assess and analyze their power, their influence, their interest on the project, then on the marriage. Then you would also want to look at the family. So the parents, depending on the culture or where you find yourself or where you are running that marriage or the environment, then you would want to look at the parents because they could also impact or be impacted by the marriage. So they become in-laws and what they bring on board as well. Then you would also want to look at exes if they exist or existed, then they also have an impact or are impacted by the marriage. So you have to analyze them, you have to know the role they play, you have to decide on how you want to treat them in the marriage. Then in going forward as well, you see this stakeholder identification actually goes on and on and on throughout the lifetime of the project. And so in your marriage, you would also want to be constantly identifying stakeholders and assess their impact, assess their influence, assess the power they have. And so say a marriage is going on and some way, somehow, a mistress surfaces from somewhere, then that also needs to be dealt with. Or the boyfriend surfaces from somewhere. It's very illegal, but they are all stakeholders and they need to be identified. Their influence on the project needs to be assessed, and then the right responses are meted out to them. So we would continue with the planning stage in our next episode. Like, share the video, and remember that no two relationships are the same. Cheers.